Hello, I'm Eric Olsen from the Hillsborough County Consumer and Veteran Services Department, and you're watching Tampa Bay Community Network.
Hi, I'm Bill Hodges, and this is Spotlight on Government. And I have with me today Eric Olsen, who is with the Consumer and Veteran Services in Hillsborough County. And you're the director of that division, is it correct?
I'm the Division Director of Consumer Protection under the Consumer and Veteran Services Department, yes.
All right, I got it halfway right.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Eric, good to have you back.
Pleasure to be here.
You've added a whole part to your services since I last talked to you. Last time I talked to you on the air, it was strictly consumer services. Now it's veteran services, all right. Do you want to explain how the two work together?
Consumer and Veteran Services as a department, we have grown, and Veteran Services, Consumer Protection are working together now under a department. We've also had the Resource Management Division and the Marine Safety section come under the department as well. So we have 4 different sections that are specialized units, basically, doing different work.
It'd be interesting how somebody decided, I'm going to put this piece in and this piece and this one over here into this department. Mm-hmm. What was the logic of consumer services and veterans, or the other two, Marine?
It's been changes that have occurred over the past couple of years. We have the common element is community safety and services that we're providing in the community. So Consumer and Veteran Services first came together because we provide services out into the community, and we have several offices located throughout the county to accomplish that mission. But we've also had the 2 other sections come on because of that community safety focus.
Let's talk first about what people can expect from the consumer side of it.
Sure.
And I understand you now have an office in Ruskin?
Yes, we do. Our main office is located in Ruskin. We also have a consumer protection office housed with Veteran Services at the Veterans Memorial Park over south of the fairgrounds, at 301 and MLK, and at the main Veterans location in Brandon at the Brandon Regional Service Center.
Consumer services. We're talking primarily frauds, problems with people not supplying what they said they were going to supply.
Correct.
Let's go into that first. Let's talk about what people can do when they come to you with a consumer problem, and who should come to you.
Very good. Consumer protection in Hillsborough County and in other counties, it was created to address issues involving unfair and deceptive business practices. So we're one of 6 county offices in the state. The state also has a division of consumer services that handles issues that someone would have in a county that doesn't have a consumer protection office. So we're looking at unfair and deceptive business practices, mainly an issue between a consumer and a merchant. We don't deal with business-to-business issues, and we don't deal with individual issues. We have certain limitations on what we can address, but basically it's the unfair and deceptive business practice, generally frauds that are going on, trying to protect consumers as they work with businesses.
It's kind of interesting, folks. They're not miracle workers. Believe me, they do their very best, but they will give you their best opinion. Now, I don't know that you remember the last time we talked, I said that I had been scammed out of $250 by a guy who did some work on my property and didn't come back and finish it.
Right.
And you said, let me check into that. And you called me and you said, this guy's got a record for violence. He's a druggie. He's on bail right now. He's got 15 years facing him, and a $250 charge won't be good since he is on bail. My best advice is to forget it.
Sometimes that's what you have to look at. You really have to weigh all sides of a situation. We're not able to give legal advice, but we want to give people information that they can use to make decisions that are informed decisions. So I believe in your case, you were looking at an individual.
Whether I was going to file
who
file a complaint. Yeah.
Yes, and you were looking at an individual who had violence issues, who you had some concerns about how he was going to react.
Exactly.
And when you have a business relationship with someone like that, sometimes it's better to walk away. Sometimes it is.
It was good advice.
Well, I'm glad that worked out for you. It doesn't always for people, and we have to refer people to law enforcement if there's threats or
It was still
things like
my
that.
choice. It was still my choice, but to point out to me first, the guy, I didn't know he had a long arrest record for drugs or that he had violence issues. These are things that I didn't know going in. Nor did I know he was already facing 15 years in jail and was just out on bail until that court case come up. These are things I didn't know, and you gave me these things to be able to think about and make my own decision.
That's really the challenge when dealing
And
with...
I'm grateful.
I'm glad that worked out in that way. Those are some of the challenges in dealing with businesses. We try to help people understand that you have to look into a background of a business as much as you can, but you don't really know sometimes who you're dealing with. If you have a person you want to do business with, you want to check and see if they have a license, then you should look into their license, look into getting some quotes, see if they have references from people that have done work with them. If all of that checks out and they seem like a good person, a good business, solid business, someone that stands behind their work, generally you're not going to run into problems. But even then, we've seen situations where people have good references, they're licensed, and things just go sideways sometimes.
Yeah, I was born at night, but not last night. And generally, don't walk myself into things where I give somebody money up front on things. It just doesn't happen. But as you pointed out, I checked with a friend who'd been doing work. He'd been doing work for them for a long time. He came out and did some very good work for me for a period of time. And I walked right into it. Even though, as you point out, you can do all these things. So don't feel stupid if that happens to you. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They just feel stupid and they don't want to tell anybody it happened.
And that's a natural response. It's unfortunate because if it can be reported, something can be done. More of a common problem we're seeing, law enforcement is dealing with it. You're seeing people contact you by telephone, by email, on the mobile phone now, and these people are not in our area. They're outside of our area. They may be out of the country. They want us to wire money to them. We send Western Union to them, and once that money is gone, it's gone. And there's sweepstakes scams. People are being called every day across the area. There are specific locales where there's maybe a higher focus where people are being targeted, but it's going on nationwide. It's going on all the time, and it's billions of dollars are being lost to people that are criminals and who knows who in other countries, and they're here domestically too, but we don't know where the money's going exactly, and once it's gone, it's gone.
In Sun City Center, I don't know whether because it's a community that's 65 or 55 and older, and they figure that we're easier marks. These phone calls come in every day, the ones you're just talking about. I'm from Windows, and your computer needs help. Let me get in there and see what I can find in it.
Yes.
I mean, come on, folks. Would you turn your checkbook over to somebody you don't know?
That's right. No, and our advice is just hang up. Don't listen to the pitch, because these people are very good, whether they're coming to your door unannounced or they're calling you unannounced, when they can get you to answer and say hello and keep you on the line. If they've kept you on the line, they know that they've already got a certain distance with you, and they can get to the point where you're giving them money. And the people that we've talked to that have had that happen, it almost seems like magic. But these people, they use their skill, their sales skill, and they can sound very convincing.
We had another lady in our town there in Sun City, brilliant lady, extremely smart. Got woke up in the middle of the night with a kid crying on the phone saying, "Grandma,
yes,
I'm in jail in Canada and I can't get out. I've got one call and I can only make it for 30 seconds. And you need to send me." And she did.
Yes, and so
$4,500.
And when they catch you off guard like that, the person who answers the phone will say their their grandchild's name, Charlie, and oh yes, yeah, this is Charlie, and so they go with that. They know how to trick you into thinking that they are who they're saying that they are, and that's how they get the money out of you.
I have two questions here on this.
Okay.
One, if I get a call that I'm not sure of, can I call your office and say, hey, listen, I got this kind of call.
Of course.
Is this a scam?
Yes, of course. I mean, we're here to serve consumers, veterans, citizens of Hillsborough County. If there's a call that you're concerned about, please call us. If you want to look into a business, please call us. We have records in our tracking system of businesses that we've had complaints against. So yes, definitely, if there's a question, we'd be happy to.
So if I'm thinking about doing work with ABC Aluminum, I can call your office before I sign that contract and say, what do you have on these people, if anything?
Exactly. Not only that, we'll tell you if we have complaints against them. We'll tell you what happened with those complaints. We will give you some guidance on where you need to go, if they need a license or not, who to contact.
It's sort of like the Better Business Bureau concept.
Yes. Just like the Better Business Bureau will track businesses. We don't rate them, but we will tell you if there is a complaint or not and what happened with it.
Going back to the phones, there is a law that people aren't supposed to call me if they don't know me and I don't have a business relationship with them.
That's correct.
But how do I enforce that law?
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
When you have legitimate businesses will follow the law. Illegitimate businesses will not follow the law.
Correct.
So your best way to enforce it is to, if you want, try to talk to them and get some information about who they are. But once you start asking questions, they don't want to give that, the illegitimate businesses. They will try to bring it back around to selling their product. You end up spending time to try to get information to report it to the proper authorities.
Who are the proper authorities? Where do you report that to? If I have the phone number that called me, is that enough information?
That can be enough. That can be enough. There's a state do not call list and there's a federal do not call list.
I'm on both, but I still get a lot of phone calls.
So my advice would be to, if you have information, file with both. If you have information, time, and inclination to do it.
There's the key.
Yes, file with both. It depends on what's happened. If you know these to be violators, you want to maybe, first, I would file with the Federal Trade Commission, who manages the do not call list nationally, and then with the State Division of Consumer Services on the state level. The more that you can get the numbers out there into record, the more that can be done, because as those agencies see that X number of complaints have come in, they will then take regulatory action against the company as they can. International actors, people who are trying to do this internationally, it's a little more difficult to do, but if they have the numbers, that's where you need to start. But just keep in mind, if someone is calling you and you're on a do not call list and you really don't have a business relationship with them, quite likely that is someone who doesn't care about the rules, doesn't care about law, and is going to treat you the same way.
I've gotten a number from Honeywell Security.
Okay.
We'll give you a 10% discount, or we'll do it for free just to get you. I keep telling them I don't want to be on their day, and they just keep calling. I did get one that was one of the Microsoft ones, and the guy admitted to me he was in Pakistan making the call.
Right, that's right.
So you're right, they're from all over the place.
They don't care about do not call lists. Now the do not call list as well, it's not only businesses you've done direct business with. When you register for things, if you sign up for travel sweepstakes, in the fine print, you have to be very careful about fine print, because oftentimes signing up, registering for websites, when you do that, they sell your information and they say, you authorize us to give this information to our third-party affiliates. Those third-party affiliates might be Honeywell or ABC company that's calling you because you have authorized them. So if they're calling, they are not necessarily unauthorized. You may have granted them somewhere along the line authorization. Your best bet, take me off your calling list. Tell them over the phone, do not call me again, or I'm going to file against you for a regulatory violation.
My cell phone at least has a thing where I can say, don't let this number ring through again.
Yes.
I've got to change my house numbers to be able to do that also.
There is a lot of work involved in maintaining your privacy. And I can tell you from personal experience, it can take some effort.
If we want to tell people in a nutshell what other kinds of things they can get from the consumer side of your agency, what would you tell them?
Okay, so consumer protection here in Hillsborough County offers the ability to look into businesses, file complaints against businesses with allegations of unfair or deceptive business practices. That's a big umbrella. If there's something that's gone wrong, or if you believe that there's a fraud that has occurred, they can contact us. The issues that law enforcement might consider a civil matter, where you have an arrangement between a company and yourself as an individual, we will look into. As well, consumer protection offers outreach and education. So we go out into the community like we're doing here today.
You have a variety of pamphlets too, do you not?
We have access to a variety of pamphlets, and we will give people upon request or at the community outreach that we conduct information on identity theft, telemarketing scams, travel fraud, financial scams, a wide variety of different schemes that are going on because they're going on all the time. So we try to get information out to people to help fix problems, like you had mentioned occurred where you run into a situation, but the idea is to prevent situations from coming about in the first place, and that's only done through education.
Well, I think you gave me the tools when we first talked about somebody that I had a run-in with, and you gave me the tools to make a decision.
That's what we're trying to do.
And it's my choice, obviously, at the end, not yours or anyone else's.
We want to, and this is department-wide, we want to empower our citizens to do the best that they can, and we do that sometimes by providing a service directly to them, sometimes by providing tools where they can do that on their own.
Are there any other areas, I know you want to get the veterans benefits and veteran services, are there any other areas that you'd like to cover on the consumer side first?
I would say that people should be aware that there are a number of scams going on all the time. Sometimes these things change. The con artists that are out there will recycle them, but they will try to approach you directly, they will try to contact you directly, and you might see it on the internet. Some of the big scams that are going on really right now involve identity theft of some sort, either stealing your identity electronically or stealing it in physical form to then do some other crime. So if people are concerned, they can contact us. Our main telephone number is 635-8316, and we would be happy to answer any questions that people have about fraud, unfair, deceptive business practices, or if they want to look up a business on the consumer side.
Let's look at veteran services, because to me, that's a very important factor. I'm a vet, as are a lot of my friends.
Thank you for your service.
I know that Frank is now the division chief, or the person in charge of the whole section.
He's our department director.
Department director.
Yes.
And he used to just head up the veteran services.
Yes.
So I know that's near and dear to his heart, and he's probably putting a lot of effort into that. Tell us what your organization can do for veterans.
Well, as you said, Mr. Strom is our department director, and it's been his guidance to provide services to veterans, just like he had been doing. Now for the past couple of years, we're under the same umbrella department. So our mission involves being out in the community, providing as much access as we can to veterans. Veterans account for approximately 93,000 of our residents, and Hillsborough County is number 2 in the state for the largest amount of veterans.
Really?
Veteran population, yes. We are number 2 in the
So
state.
a friend of mine once said Tampa is number 2 in the world on lightning.
Yes, that's right.
And I said, where's number 1? He said, I don't know, but we're number 2.
The veteran side is something I continue to learn more about. My experience and my practice is on the consumer protection side. But we have a lot going on for veterans. It's a pretty exciting time. There's a brand new, it's being constructed right now, to be completed this year, a Veterans Resource Center that's coming online, should be by the end of this year at the Veterans Memorial Park. Again, that's at MLK and Highway 301, just south of 301. It's a beautiful park. There's a lot of wonderful monuments there, and we're going to now have this new center in addition to the museum that's already there. So if you haven't been by that park, I really recommend it. It's a beautiful area, and we're doing more events out there. And once the resource center comes online, we're going to have more capacity to provide outreach and see the public at that location.
I'm really delighted to see the county give Frank Strom more in the way of resources to be able to do this, because quite honestly, there's a lot of vets, 90-some thousand vets in Hillsborough County?
Right.
And many of them do not know what they have as far as benefits coming to them.
That's right. That's right. So if you're a vet out here today and you haven't been in to see a Veteran Services Officer, if you have benefits that you want to check into, or if you want to know what benefits are out there, there are a number of different benefits that are available to veterans, whether it's through property tax exemption, park pass. There are a wide variety of benefits that many veterans don't know that they're able to get. And we have Veteran Services Officers that will sit down for free, confidentially, and talk about what you can do with benefits, local, state, and federal at those levels, to provide the best experience that a veteran can have. So Veteran Services supports not only the vets, but also the families, survivors of anyone who has been in the military. So we're here to provide support and connection for veterans and their families.
I think it's important to listen to them very carefully and to get in touch with them. I'm going to give you my own case. Probably 2-3 years, maybe 4 years ago, when Frank Strom was on the program, we talked about disabilities. And he said, you really ought to get a hold of my office. Well, I tried. But the office was really, really busy. That's why I said I'm glad to see that they're giving him more resources. And so I delayed and I delayed until last year when a DAV person, Disabled American Veterans, talked to me. And I said, you know, I've been out of the military all these years. He said, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If you have a disability that can be directly related back to your military service. And I said, well, I've got crickets in the back of my head singing all the time. They call it tinnitus. And I was on B-52s with 8 engines, and I've had it ever since.
There you go.
And so, well, this is a service-connected disability, or it should be.
Correct.
So they submitted the forms for me, and sure enough, it was. And it's made a big difference. I should have pursued this 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago when Frank was on the program. So don't be like me. Don't wait. If you have something that's service-connected, if you fell off something in the military and hurt your back and there's a medical record, you can actually get a hold of, and I'm sure you folks would help, fill out the forms to get all your medical records from the military.
That's right.
Every document, every military call, every time you went in to see the doctor. And that's a good place to start.
That's right. Like I said, we'll have a Veteran Services Officer at different locations. So back when you were doing when you came into the office, we had probably just the primary location.
That was it.
We've
just
now,
one location. Good luck.
We've now branched out into the community to provide extra service and extra availability for the services so people can see a Veteran Services Officer.
And I know Frank Strom was just completely beside himself because he saw the need, and with the facilities he had and the staff he had, it just wasn't enough. And he quite frankly told me so at the time.
And we have made some changes. The inclusion of consumer protection and the other sections allows us to cross-train and add additional support. So without taking on additional funding or resources, it's more human resources. We've been able to use the tools in place to do more with the same amount. So we've brought people together, we've streamlined our processes, and we're providing the same or a higher level of service, but in a different way. So we're working hard to provide high quality service to people and a rapid service to any veteran that comes in, any consumer that comes in. It can be challenging sometimes because there's a lot of need, like you said.
They always worked hard. I don't mean to disparage their work. It's just that they didn't have the resources for the number of people coming through the door.
That's it. Veteran Services, like Consumer Protection, has been a small group of hardworking folks that have been challenged with that, we don't have a staff of 40 for just the veterans side.
Right.
And so we do the best that we can with the resources that we've been given. And there are more resources that are being allocated, like in the construction of the Veterans Resource Center, that will be a benefit.
Not only that, but out there in Sun City Center, you've got a great resource in the DAV chapter, Disabled American Veterans, because they'll help fill out those forms too.
And our VSOs will as well. Yeah.
An overflow there is a good thing because you got people who are willing to help that are just straight volunteers and doing it all the time.
That's right.
So all of those things. Let's talk about your other two sections.
Okay.
You want to just briefly tell me what they are?
Right. The Resource Management Division is one of the two, and then there's the Marine Safety Division. Resource Management operates as a specialized reactionary unit focused on community safety. They do different things involving graffiti removal, and it supports citizens in crisis. So it's kind of a specialized reactionary unit, and it's resource management, but it's also known as rapid response.
Oh, okay.
So they're kind of a cover-all section when it involves rapid response. So they also support issues that come up with storms, disasters.
Oh, okay.
So they're
something needs to be taken care of right now.
Right, exactly.
How about the Marine Division? We got about a minute.
Okay. They, again, specialized reactionary unit, working with the Sheriff's Office. They provide support to support the safe waterways in our area, and they're a very new unit that's been brought on under us. It's really to support the safe and to make waterways safe to operate in Hillsborough County.
And we've got a lot of them. People
Right.
think of only the bay,
Right.
but there's a lot of channels and canals and
Right.
everything throughout that area.
Yeah, and we want to keep those places safe for everyone to be able to use. So if you got boaters that are out there drinking, not acting properly, they
So you work with the
work,
Sheriff's Department and the Marine Division on
and
that.
the Coast Guard as well.
And
Yes.
the Coast Guard on that.
Right. So it's about safety in those waterways. So again, focused on community safety, they were brought under us to accentuate what we all do as a department. So we're glad to have them on as well.
Eric, I'd love to have you back.
Be glad to come back.
And maybe Frank will come with you. Frank Strom, by the way, I keep referring to him as Frank, but I just feel like I know him because he's such a great guy and he's worked so hard for veterans especially. And I know this overall is going to be good because he'll do hard. So maybe you bring Frank with you.
I'd love to come
That's
back.
not exclusionary. You can come back by yourself.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he would love to be here as well, and I'd love to come back another time.
Eric, thank you so much for being with us.
Glad to be here.
I'm Bill Hodges. This is Spotlight on Government. You're unique, you're special, you're great. Tell yourself so often because you are, and we'll see you on the next Spotlight on Government. And again, Eric, thank you for being with us.